What you doing, buddy? Hmm? Should we go make the neighbors mad and make some noise? Yeah, okay. So today we are going to continue the prep on the underside to get ready for Raptor lining. So what I have done so far is, in the last video, or maybe a couple videos ago, I think you saw me pull the tank and transmission, transfer case, everything out of the way. So I went ahead and power washed underneath there. I'll throw some footage of that in here. And so now that it's been power washed, what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna hop underneath there and we're gonna take a wire wheel to it. So I was able to pick up this big bad boy here, which is a 6-inch wire wheel. And then I've got a few other wheels that I'm gonna get out, and we're gonna get underneath and we're just gonna grind away. So it's gonna be a messy job. I've done this a few times and I always come out looking like I dove headfirst into a dirt pile. So I'm gonna get suited up, masked up, glasses, ear protection, get everything on, and then I'm gonna wheel the Jeep out into the driveway and we'll get started. Okay, I want to get a shot of the underside. We've already pressure washed this and got everything out from underneath it. Well, let's just get a good before picture so we can see what we're working with here. So slide all the way up. There is what we're looking at. Like I've said before, not too terribly bad. And I really just need to get under here, knock the big pieces of dirt off, and get it ready for the Raptor liner. So we'll come in, knock all this down, get it good and degreased so we can get that good mechanical adhesion from the Raptor liner, and then we'll be good to go. So let me get my mask, gloves, eye protection, all that stuff on. Anytime you're working with a wire wheel, you want to make sure you're wearing eye protection. I've had those things break off and fling into my skin. And so, God forbid, one of them pops you in the eye. That would be a bad time. So let me get all my safety equipment on and I will be back under here and we will start grinding. Okay, so let me quickly go over some of this safety gear because I think it's important that we have the right thing. So for glasses, what you want to be using, especially when you're doing grinding or something like this, is you see this little foam lip here. You want to be using something that seals around the brow and the bottom side of the eyelid. So these will get on there. I mean, they're nasty and they're old. This is what they're used for, is all this grinding. But that little bit of padding right there could be the difference between catching something in the eye and not. So anytime you're doing grinding, abrasives, anything like that, you want to use something that has a little bit of padding to it that can kind of seal against the brow and the cheekbone and kind of keep those particles from getting up in there. A decent set of gloves. These are just some cheapies, but it's got a leather palm to them. I have caught my hand with a wire wheel before. It is a very unenjoyable thing. So gloves will maybe not save you, but maybe minimize the damage. And then hearing protection. I'm going to throw these on. You could use earplugs, which is what I usually use, but because I'm going to be under there for a while grinding, I'm going to have my earbuds in and I'm going to throw these over my earbuds so I can have some music down there. So let's get under there and get grinding. Okay, so that 6-inch wheel is quite a bit to wield under there. So much rotating mass that it keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna swap out to a smaller wheel. That's gonna give me a little bit more control under here, because as I'm getting into these tight areas, the last thing I wanna do is have that big 6-inch wheel kick off one of these lips, grab my wrist, and rip my thing. So I'm gonna go for a little bit more control. It's gonna probably take a little bit longer to get it done, but that's okay. I want to avoid injury more than I want to get this done quickly. So let me swap everything out and we'll get back to it. Okay, so you can see how much smaller this wheel is than the one we took off. Gonna be a lot more control, but it's gonna take a little longer. But like I said, willing to pay that price so I don't get caught up and get injured. So let me get the gloves back on and we'll get grinding. Okay, let's take a quick look at what just that couple minutes has done for me. So, let's see. Oh, like I said, just that couple 5 minutes of grinding, and that's already looking pretty good under there. So, we'll go ahead and keep peeling away on this and get this thing all spick and span and ready, and then we'll throw in some primer and get ready for the Raptor Liner. Okay, so that was about 15 minutes under there with a wire wheel. So let's get down and take a peek at what we're looking at. So as you guys can see, I got the majority of the grease off, got down to bare metal, and so what we're gonna do next is get under here and shoot this with primer, just a self-etching primer. You don't wanna leave bare metal sitting too terribly long, especially if it's getting humid. And down here in the south, it does tend to get humid. And so we're gonna get some, like I said, primer on it, but like it looks good. Wasn't too difficult to get that off there. Like I said, this thing was in great shape, so there wasn't a ton of schmutz to get off. What I did find that was cool as I was kind of grinding away on the frame rail a little bit is this right here. I need to figure out what that denotes. I'm guessing 87 is the build year, and then I don't know what the rest of these numbers and letters mean. So I'll see if I can find some kind of decoder that'll tell me what that is. But yeah, not bad. And let me go ahead and get the primer. The frame, like I said, as I was grinding on it, the undercoating that they put on here stayed even with the wire wheel. So I am content to just leave that, man. I'll probably just wipe it down with the greaser. Get as much of it off there, like this is, I mean, the dust and dirt and everything. Get as much of that off there as I can, and then probably just spray it with black epoxy. Because like I said, there's really no reason to take it down to bare metal if it's in that good a shape and the wire wheel isn't getting that off there. So then it really doesn't worry me. Cleaned up the inside of that frame rail a little bit, but yeah, a little bit more wire wheel work to do. But after that, we're gonna start getting it in primer and then get ready to spray the Raptor Liner. And like that, we are in primer. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't too bad. Shot, I can see some places I need to go back over with a third coat. But got a couple coats of primer under here, and it's looking pretty good. So like I said, let Let me touch that up with a third coat, make sure I got everything covered nice and well. And then we will be ready to start prepping for the Raptor Liner. To shoot the Raptor Liner, I'm going to wrap the frame rails because I don't really want to get the Raptor Liner on that. I just want to take those to a nice enamel black. And so to keep the texture of the Raptor Liner off those, I'm going to just take trash bags and drape them over that, tape them up tight so they don't get caught up in as the Raptor Liner is blowing on there. But like I said, I don't want to get it on the frame rail, so let me get this third coat on here, and then we'll probably wheel it back in the garage to shoot the Raptor Liner, or maybe we'll do it out here. No, we'll play it by ear. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the frame rails taped up, or draped up, and we didn't go crazy with it, but the one part I wanted to make sure that we did get was back here at the back where this big nest of wires comes in. So the rear body harness hooks in back here, and this is everything that comes through that runs the tailgate, the rear lights, everything like that. And so I want to make sure we had that completely protected from any spray, because the last thing you want is getting something in there to gum all that up. I mean, I don't know if we're going to replace the wiring harness or not, but you don't want to create any extra problems for yourself that you don't need to have. Also, like the vent tubes and things like that, we tape those off to make sure we don't get any spray in those. The one thing I have left that I'm going to do just out of safety, or just to prevent any problems down the road, is I'm going to come into all these open holes in the body, and I'm just going to put a piece of tape up in there so we don't get any Raptor Liner on the threads. And hopefully the bolt would be able to, as we put it back in there, the seatbelt bolt and everything like that would be able to push it through. But just, I'll take the extra 30 seconds now and save myself hopefully some pain down the road. So let me do that, and then I will prep to spray. Okay, so here's what we're going to be shooting. This Raptor Liner, we're going to just do it in black. And I've shot this before, like I said. It is as simple as fill, shake, shoot. And so you're going to combine one can of the hardener with one bottle of the primer. And then I've got the Schultz gun for it. You can shoot this through an LV, or low volume, high pressure gun. Or I have the Schultz gun that goes with it. So this is just going to screw down, or the bottle's going to screw onto that, and then we're going to hook it up to the air hose and it will shoot. So pretty simple. They sell this gun with a kit. I can't remember how much it is, but I think this is the easiest way to do it, because cleanup on this is pretty simple. You just take the tubes apart, this unscrews from the bottom, and then you can clean this. I have a regular paint gun. I can imagine that cleaning this out of the paint gun would be kind of a nightmare, so I opted for the Schultz gun, and it worked very well last time, so hopefully it'll work well this time too. The first coat is done. The first bottle did pretty much the front tub. So Let me slide under here, show you what we got. So that is the first bottle. So we got pretty good coverage over, like I said, the front passenger area. We got to come back through, and there's some spots we need to touch up. But all in all, pretty good. And then you can see we got to get to the back half. So the second bottle is going to be the back half and touching up anything we missed up here up front. So let's go mix up that second bottle. Okay, it's also important to spray this from multiple angles, because if you look, I was just spraying from the passenger side to the driver's side, and let me see if my hands are clean enough to take this. So if you look at this, you can see all the ridges up in there that I missed shooting from passenger to driver's side. So as you're putting this on, you're going to want to vary the angles you shoot from to get coverage. So now I'm going to shoot driver's side towards passenger side, get all those ridges covered, and then keep going and start spot fixing all the spots that I've missed. But it's looking good so far. Okay, so from those bottles, not everything is sprayable, right? That hose doesn't get everything out of it. So I took a little bit of hardener that was left in the one bottle, poured it in to the Raptor Liner bottle, shook it up, poured it into the other liner bottle, shook it up. And then what I've got here is just a little bit of the remnants. There's maybe, I don't know, 4 ounces here. But I'm going to grab a brush, get under there, and try to get any places that I missed. Just spot fix them real quick while I've still got this little bit of Raptor Liner left. And there's your finished product. So the Raptor Liner is on and it's drying. It was dry enough that we could take the the wrapping off of the frame and get this shot. So like I said, still got some more curing to do, but it looks pretty good. So got pretty good coverage under here. Was able to do, you know, a pretty thorough run through of this entire section. And then the back, let me see if I can throw this light back a little bit further. We're able to get pretty good coverage on the back too. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with how that all went on. And I mean, it makes a world of difference underneath here. Again, nobody's probably ever going to see this, but if they do, if they poke their head underneath here, I want it to be, you know, at least good looking enough to where you're like, yeah, okay, he took the time to do this. Because it always confuses me when somebody will jam a, you know, $20,000 motor into a vehicle and then do absolutely nothing else to it, and the frame still looks like crap, and the you know, the undercarriage is kind of nasty. So this is not too expensive, right? It's time. This is all just time that you're putting into this, and that's the big sunken cost here. I want to say those 2 bottles of Raptor Liner, they were left over from another job, but I can't imagine they were, you know, much more than $100, if that. And then I'm going to do some rattle can enamel black on the frame, and that'll clean everything up real nice under here. So with that, this project is done.